Do you want to learn how to play the piano like Norah Jones? Well, if you like tunes like Don't Know Why and Come Away With Me, there's a very specific technique that Norah uses in her piano accompaniment that give it that very cool, vibey sound. And in today's lesson, I'm going to teach you this technique plus how you can use it on any chord progression. So let's go ahead and dive in. Okay, what we're going to do first is I'm going to show you how Norah Jones takes ordinary chords and makes them sound really beautiful. Second, I'm going to show you a progression that I think of being in the Norah Jones style. And then third, I'm going to show you this very specific technique that Norah uses in the right hand to get that very chill sound. Okay, the first question is, how does Norah take a normal chord like this and turn it into this really beautiful, gentle chord that kind of gives you a warm, fuzzy feeling inside? Well, she basically adds one note to all of her major chords. So if you took a G major like this, you can add the note just a whole step above the G, the A, and it gives it this really warm, lush sound. This is called a G with an add to. It's the second note from the chord, okay? So when you're playing a chord like this, you can oftentimes invert the chord down like this, and it just gives it a really, really nice sound, okay? So she'll do this on all of her major chords. Like, let's say she's playing a C major chord, okay? Well, instead of just playing a normal C like this, she'll add the 2 or the second note up from the root note. And it gives it this very warm, lush sound, okay? This is called a C add 2. And if you're playing the chord in a groove, you can invert the chord up. So you can take that C and you can put it up there and you get this really nice sound. Now there's one more chord that I want to show you before we dive into the groove, and that is a D major chord. And this is the 5 chord in the key of G major. So we're playing in the key of G major. If you go up 5 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you have a D, and so we're building a major chord on this note, okay? So instead of playing an ordinary D major like this, Norah will play it like that, okay? It's way more interesting. Instead of hitting a D like that, we go that, okay? It has a more kind of open sound to it, sort of a mysterious sound, and so it's a way cooler way of playing a D chord. We have D, E, G, and C. And the trick here is actually to put your D on the bottom and go down a whole step to C and then build a major chord on the C. Okay? That's basically what we're doing, is we're playing a C chord over a D. And you can do this in any key. Like if I was playing a tune in the key of C and I was on my 5 chord G, well, all you do is you go down one whole step from the G, that's the F, and you build an F major chord. And then you put it down here, and you have an F over G. Okay, it's a way more interesting way of playing your 5 chord. All right, before I teach you the Norah Jones groove, if you're enjoying this video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more videos just like this. All right, you ready to groove in the Norah Jones style? I'm gonna teach you one of the coolest Norah Jones sounding grooves. Here's how it goes. Okay, this is a beautiful chord progression, and so here's what we're basically doing. We're starting on a G chord, and I'm just going to play the root and the 5th of this chord. Okay, so really simple, and then I'm going to go up to my G add 2. Okay, it's an inverted chord. Then I'm going to go to my C chord. Okay, we like to use a root 5th on the bottom. It gives it a very kind of warm sound, and then we're going to grab our C with the add 2. Okay, and then we're going to go back to our G chord. G with the add 2, okay, very, very simple chords. And then the D with the C on top of it, okay? It's a really cool way, once again, of playing the 5 chord. And you also might notice it's the same chord that we played on the C, okay? So it makes it a lot easier to play. Okay, next chord, back to your G, add 2. Then we're gonna go down to C, nice root 5th on the bottom. There's our C add 2. And then we're going to go to a D chord. This is the C over D, so we just play it like that. And then finally our G add 2. Okay? It's a really simple chord progression. All right, let's play this with the backing track, and then I'll teach you what to do in the right hand. Here we go. 2, and here we go. G. Gorgeous. Here's our D. By the way, I want to mention that this backing track is downloadable, plus the lesson sheet music that you're seeing up here on the top left of the screen over at pianowithjohnny.com. You can also change the key of this entire lesson with a click of one button, so you can practice it in any key with our smart sheet music, so I'll put a link to all of that below. All right, are you ready to learn what to do in the right hand? I'm so excited to teach you the Norah Jones right hand, and if you listen to almost any Norah Jones, you're going to hear her playing this in the right hand. Okay, what am I doing here? Well, I'm basically playing slip notes. And slip notes are a technique that actually come from country and folk music. Floyd Kramer is very famous for using slip notes in his piano playing, and so Norah Jones is actually just using a technique that comes from country music, but she's adapting it in a kind of bluesy contemporary style. So what is a slip note? Well, if I take a chord like a G major, all you do is you take the note just below the middle note. So you go down a whole step, that's going to be A, and then you strike here and you slip up to the B. And you want to play the D on top, okay? This is a slip note, okay? Now there are a couple types of slip notes. This is slip note number 1, and in just a little bit I'm going to teach you slip note number 2, but before we do that, let's practice a little bit of slip notes on our different chords, okay? So if I'm on a G chord, we play the slip note like that, okay? Well, what if we're on a C chord? Well, let's go to a C chord in the right hand. Let's take that middle note, go down a whole step, and we're going to slip up to the third. Isn't that cool? Sounds really nice when you come up high like that, okay? Now, what about your D chord? What if you got a D chord in the left hand? Well, it's the same thing. You're going to play a D major, go down a whole step from the note in the middle, and you slip up to the third. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, so you can kind of practice your slip notes. Okay, there's my G. Notice how I'm sort of harmonizing all my notes with the G on the top, and then my G on the bottom. Okay, isn't that beautiful? And so Norah uses this all the time when she's creating her accompaniment. Beautiful. So this is the slip note 1 technique. Now I want to teach you a quick exercise to practice this slip note, and the exercise goes like this. Okay, really nice. Basically, I'm just doing a slip note on the G, okay, coming down, chord, putting a little G there, and then I do a slip note on the C, and then I do the chord with the single note C, okay? And then I'm coming back to my G, here's my chord, there's my G on the bottom, and then I go to a slip note on the D, and there's my chord. I'm going to hold this one, okay? It's pretty simple. Then we go back to our G chord, chords in the middle, single note G, now down to C. Okay, got to sort of share a note there so you can change fingers. And then here's my D chord. Here's our chord here, our D on the bottom, and then I'm going to go back to my G for my slip note. All right, let's go ahead and play this with the included backing track. Here we go. And here it is. All right, before I teach you slip note number 2, if you're enjoying this lesson and you want to do a deep dive on the contemporary style, check out our Contemporary Progressions and Improv course over at pianowithjohnny.com. I'll put a link to that below. All right, slip note number 2 is going to have this sound to it. a little bit different from slip note number 1 because we're going to be slipping a different set of notes. So here's how slip note number 2 goes. Basically, if you're on a G chord, what you're going to do is you're going to play a G major in first inversion. Okay, root position, first inversion. Now, once I have this chord, I'm going to slip up from the middle note D, up a whole step to E. Okay, isn't that cool? And with slip note number 2, usually you come up and then back down. Okay, so we strike, slip up to the E, and then we usually come down to the D. Okay, what if we were to do this on a C chord like this? Well, let's go to a C chord, root position, first inversion, okay? And let's take that middle note and slip up a whole step. You see that? Strike, slip up, and then back down, okay? Same thing for a D chord. We've got the A and the D. We're gonna strike, slip up to the B, and then come back down to the A. Okay, here's a quick exercise to practice slip note number 2. Here's how it goes, and then I'll break it down for you. Isn't that gorgeous? So basically what we're doing is we're starting on the G chord. We're gonna slip up to the E there, D and G, chord. There's our B by itself. Then the C, there's the slip note there. Here's our chord, E by itself. And then the G chord, bring it back up. Here's the chord. And then on the D, we're gonna slip up to the B. And let's grab the A on the bottom, just before the chord, okay? It's pretty simple. Then the G chord again. There's the chord, single note B, and then slip up to the A. There's the chord, single note E. And then on the D chord, slip up to the B. There's the A, there's the D chord. I'm gonna throw an E in here to sort of change it up. And then I'm gonna go down to my slip note on the G chord. Okay, does that make sense? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, let's play this with the included backing track, and here it is. And here we go. Hey, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this lesson, be sure to check out pianowithjonny.com. We have over 1,000 step-by-step lessons for all playing levels where you'll learn your favorite songs, styles, and how to improvise at the piano. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.